from what you're telling me, you're not having OTAs and you can show up when you feel like it. You're not a close team. Tell you about my coach versus any other coach that has played or coached in college or coached in the pros. The one thing my coach has done, he's built championships at the college level and he's built Super Bowl champions at the NFL level. That's the one thing that I can say about Jimmy Johnson is that Jimmy was a Hall of Famer at both levels.
Yeah.
Nick Saban failed.
Yep.
Jimmy won 2 and was responsible for 3 Super Bowls. Think of that for a minute. And a national championship in college. And you know what he would do sometimes? Because, he would see that he would be working our asses off, either with the Cowboys or with the Canes. You know what he would do? We would stop. The next day you'd see something, meet you all at the beach. We have a game of volleyball, and we're sitting there for 2 hours playing volleyball there on South Beach. We're out there, just the whole team, playing volleyball. Set up 3 nets. We're out there playing. Sometimes it's positions versus positions, O-line versus D-line. Sometimes it's the offense versus the defense. We would play a game out there and get this back in the day too. You have food out there. You have drinks out there. It's all fun. You're sitting out there. And then the next day, your ass is back to the grind again. But you know what it was? It was building a bondness together that you had with each other, knowing, hey, look, man, if you guys work your asses off, you work so hard, I'm going to reward you also to know this, that you're going to be, sometimes we'd go to a movie. Sometimes we would go on a boat trip. He would stop practice.
We went on a fishing trip. Now we did the same thing. We went on a fishing trip,
We do all these things together. And when you're telling me that Sirianni doesn't want the team together because of whatever, how about this then? Why don't you guys play a game of bridge? Why don't you guys play a game of hopscotch? Why don't you guys play a game of darts? Do something together then that doesn't have to be physical. Nobody said, Nick, that you had to bring your team together and go out there and get anybody hurt. If you feel that way, you said it, man. The team bonding, okay, in the offseason is how you formulate your identity of your football team, Barrett.
Right. Now, see, that's the info, Stephen Bassetti. No information there. Well, hey, I guess you've been in the locker room. You've been in a Super Bowl locker room. I guess you've understood what to go out there and have 2-a-days and everything else. See, this is the information you're not getting from everybody. This is information that team building is involved with. Now, I'm not in that locker room, but I know a lot of people in that locker room. There's a lot of people I talk to in that locker room. So when you say there's not information here, there is information here.
But wait a minute, Barrett. That's why he's in the stands.
Right.
Okay, it's okay because you know why? Most fans think it's about kissing cheerleaders and cashing paychecks. This team, from what you're telling me, you're not having OTAs and you can show up when you feel like it. You're not a close team. The offensive line. You know what's funny? I just realized this. Tell me if you disagree, Barrett. Isn't it funny that the most cohesive group on the Eagles is the O-line, and it's the most productive group in the Eagle locker room?
Yep.
They were number 1, and they're a close-knit group, would you say?
Yep, absolutely.
The rest of that team is not. And that's why the Eagles are one-dimensional. You think those wide receivers, when you got a quarterback halfway 3,000 miles across the country, working out with Tom House, and the rest of your guys are, I don't know, eating cheese doodles or something. I don't know what they're doing. You don't even have Gardner Minshew thrown to him.
Well, look at this.
How could that be? How could that be a close team?
Well, it's like this. Same thing and make you laugh, make you cry. I'll give you both of it. When you're a tight-knit team like that, just a tight-knit team, you do everything together inside the locker room. But we also used to get in trouble together also. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. When we were doing dirt, we did dirt together. When we were out there practicing hard, we practiced hard together. You know what I'm saying? That's why you saw a lot of guys. If you saw guys get in trouble, it was a group of them getting in trouble, not just individuals, because we didn't have a lot of individuals on our team. One went down, we all went down. So when you say, there's not information there, you got to pick through the information. You got to know what's going on. I've been in locker rooms before, and I'm also friends with guys in that locker room. I talk to guys all day, every day about, what's going on, how things are going. I just don't say a lot of it because there's certain stuff that's in a locker room that needs to stay sacred in a locker room.
See,
You know
man,
what I'm saying?
you're killing me because these guys are just getting under your skin for a reason. Now you sound like Xander and me. Xander going, "Hey man, Ben Simmons, he really gets under your skin, doesn't he?" Yeah, well, no, Ben Simmons doesn't because I heard in Brooklyn, Barrett, that they got a picture of Ben Simmons' face on a milk carton, and they're passing it around. Have you seen this guy? Ben Simmons' face, clear. You know what I would do? I hear he filed the grievance against the Sixers. If I was the Nets, I'd file a grievance against his ass for not showing up. Dude, you talk about being a worm. I got one question before we get to the A.J. Brown and the DK Metcalf. There's only 3 players to gain 16,000 or more yards rushing. Do you know who they are?
3 players. Barry, it's Emmett, and Frank Gore.
It's Emmett, Walter Payton, and Gore. Sanders is 4th. Frank Gore is 3rd all-time in NFL rushing with 16,000. Walter Payton is 2nd with 16,726. And Emmett is 1st with 18,355. Gore has more rushing yards than Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Jerome Bettis, Eric Dickerson, Tony Dorsett, Jim Brown, Edgerrin James, Marcus Allen, and Franco Harris. You think he's a Hall of Famer?
Not a first ballot. It'll be later. It'll almost be like Harold Carmichael. It'll be later on down the line.
16,000 rushing yards.
Yeah, but he'll get
3rd.
He'll get his just due later on. It'll be just like Harold Carmichael. He might get it when he's old and, can't really reap the benefits of it. But, his numbers dictate that he is. His numbers are saying, yes, you have to put him up there with the great backs because, he's 3rd most in
But he's never been, Barrett. Watch this. When I think of the elite backs in NFL history, his name doesn't jump out at me, and I go, man, this guy's better than Jim Brown. You know what I mean? This guy's better than Barry. He's 3rd, and he played 20 years. It's a longevity deal, and you and me know longevity is also a part of an evaluation. You play that long at that position, man.
20 years at the running back position is unheard of. Unheard of, you know what I'm saying? But consistently getting around he for probably 5-6 years in a row, he was averaging 1,000 yards a year. Frank was one of those guys that's time tested, just a battle ram. A battle ram, and he stayed healthy for the most part.
He couldn't at Miami. He's signing a 1-day contract today with the 49ers, and he's going to retire. He's the 49ers all-time leading rusher.
I can believe that.
Hey, get this. He was in the same backfield on that 0-1 Miami National Championship team with Willis McGahee, Clinton Portis.
Ridiculous. Davenport.
Davenport, too. Najee Davenport was also – yeah, Najee.
Yeah, I played with Najee in Green Bay.
Did you play with Najee?
Yep, in Green Bay. Yep.
Did you like him?
Yeah, he was good. He was cool.
He's a little Porter weird also. Dude.
Yeah,
he's a little weird.
Very weird. I played with Porter also.
Oh, okay.
Portis. His name Clinton Portis.
Yeah, did Clinton in his outfits?
Yeah. That's before he became that. Before he became that dude, you know what I'm saying? This is when he was in Denver. We were in camp together. Denver. Clinton was, it was his rookie year. He was just trying to be quiet and and go about his game. And that's when they were running off those 1,000-yard backs. It didn't matter who they put in the backfield. You know what I'm saying? He would run off. He would have 1,000-yard Anderson to
Mike Anderson was like some battle ram for them, and I never heard of the guy.
Bro, he went to the Utes, but he was a Marine. He actually went to the Marines, was a Marine, then went back to school, and then got drafted. This guy used to have put it like this. He was an old school dude, man. Even though he was young, he had a convertible vet. And just before he go to practice, he'd go out, 15 minutes before we went to practice. He'd go out and smoke a Black and Mild. And him and Alex, yes, we come out. Alex, this is for you, Alex. Alex Gibbs, the offensive line coach. He did he put it out and go practice. I'm like, how the hell do you do that?
No,
I can't even breathe up there anyways. But he smokes a Black and Mild before practice and goes and practices. I said, man, that's an old school dude, man.
Oh, no doubt, man. And some of them guys, old school. You know what I just thought about for a second here? You know what? This is another example of Nick Sirianni not having control of his football team. When you're not able to have mandatory camps and you're not able to have structure that you want in the building because Howie runs the structure. You see, Howie runs the team like the front office, compartmentalized. And when he just assumes, think about Barrett, it's clear now. The reason why you don't have all these practices and Howie's protecting his guys instead of Nick's guys. This is the prime example of it here. A head coach with any kind of autonomy in his locker room, you're going to get your ass out there and practice as much as I legally can, according to the NFL Players Association. I'm going to have you out there to the last second. I'm not going to sit here and debate with my front office and my medical doctors for injuries that haven't happened. I mean, think of that, for instance. The Eagles are preparing. Hey, you know why they got out to that 2-5 start? It was that shitty preparation that they didn't have this past offseason.
Yep.
When you're canceling two-a-days and practices and shit like that and calling camp, you want to know why you got out to a 2-5 start? You didn't know anything about your huddle. You don't have the reps. That's why he didn't know anything about his team last year, Barrett. He didn't know anything about his team because they hadn't practiced OTAs, mini camps, doing all the bonding and finding out who this and that guy is or that. They're clueless on it. And the only group that has their shit together in the building is the O-line. That's why that team, you could sit there all you want from the stands and go, this team's close. No, this is where you get in trouble here. This is not the 2017 Eagles. Okay? This is not. This football team is not close like that football team is, and I will hold to that because just the way, Barrett, that they run their offseason tells me all I need to know. Am I wrong?
I mean, it can give you definitely an accurate barometer on, how you read what this team is where they are in their development on which way this team is going. And the reason why, the offensive line is close because of Stalin. Stalin has a way of doing things. And because he does those things that way, he has guys like Kelsey. He has guys like Lane Johnson who are going to get – Lane Johnson will fly all the guys down to Texas, and all those guys will be working out together. All of them be working out together. They have a big man's camp that they bring all of the guys down, and they work out together all the time. That's where they get it. That's why you look at the tackles. All the tackles set the same. Look at the guards. All the guards set the same. Everybody has the same functional mobility as far as, what their techniques are, because those guys work so much together. Now, I've been a part of teams where, all right, the Steelers team. Yeah, we had great guys. Alan Faneca there. We had Russ Grimm as our coach. Russ Grimm was one of those coaches say, all right, just get the job done.
Original hog.
Yeah, he was one of the original hog. Just get the job done. Stalin approaches things a little different. Stalin's like, all right, guys, you got to do it this way. You got to do it this way. And he teaches these guys their technique. And that's why they're so good, because everybody plays the same. They have the same exact set. They jump the set every single time. All of them play almost like they look like Jason Peters out there. And that's the way he coaches those guys.
It's funny. Dwayne asked if I'm an Eagle fan. You know what I've become a fan of? I've become a fan of Eagle fans.
Yeah, right.
I'm not so sure how the team's being run if I'm a fan of it, but I'm a fan of the fans that have so much passion and knowledge on the team. That's so if you're asking me, I become a fan of you. Even if you disagree with us, I become a fan of you guys because I love passionate fans. Look, you don't have to agree with us at all, okay? You can have your own opinion. You've been around the team longer than I have. But what I've come to love over the last year is how passionate the fans are. And I'm just telling you, and Barrett's giving you a perspective that, hey, if you're not practicing and doing reps, why do you think coaches have us do one play 17 times in a row?
Exactly. Until you get it
It's
right.
not because they want to run 17 plays in a row. They want you to understand that, hey, it's got to be perfect. We're looking for perfection. Every play, your chin strap, it's your chin strap being snapped. You and me hate that, but it's all about the John Wooden thing. Everybody's chin strap is on. Everybody's mouthpiece is in. Everybody's doing the same thing together. We're all in this together.
It keeps everybody's expectations the same, number one, but also number two, it builds muscle memory. You don't even think about it. It becomes unconscious. And when you can do that, when you can play like that, you're not thinking. You're out there executing. You know what I'm saying? You know exactly. Because if you're thinking too much, it slows you down. If you're reactionary, you just do it because it's what you've become, and instead of what you're becoming. If it's already what you've become, then you're just doing it naturally. Then you don't have to think about it. Then you can play a lot faster. You know, so that's why people understand you can call a run play. You can call 15 slant. That's a simple inside zone run play. You can call that and run that one play 10 different ways, depending on where the tackles lined up, the defensive tackles line up, where the nose guards line up, where the linebacker is, where the ends are. I mean, these guys can move over 2 inches, and it totally changes the blocking scheme on how you play that play. You have to know those things. You have to run those things in order to get an accurate assessment of what that is. How can you do it if you're not on the field practicing it, where you're not seeing it up front and close and personal? It's hard for you to get that if you have to, because it becomes something new to you every time you run the play. So if you haven't seen it before, you get in the game, you haven't seen it before, all right, that's a play in which, all right, I didn't know because I hadn't seen it before. I didn't know about it. But if you run it over and over again, it becomes muscle memory to it, and you go and you think without even, you play without even thinking. And that's when things become a lot easier. The game slows down to you. You know what your left guard is going to do because your left tackle has seen the same thing in practice, or we've seen it in camp. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just getting that chemistry with each other on the field.
Guy with the Super Bowl ring knows what he's talking about. That guy over there is Barrett Brooks. I'm Dan Cilio. We're reset for hour number 2, the middle, back and